Hey everyone, Stuart here, Victor Echo 9, Sierra Romeo Charlie, and I'm back with another important video for you U.S. amateurs that want to travel north of the border this summer. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, this is Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Sierra Romeo Charlie, and we're back with another important video for all the POTA fans out there. Well, let's say you're a U.S. amateur and you want to travel to the Great White North this summer and activate one of our 5,800 locations that are part of the POTA program. Can you do it? Well, of course you can. U.S. amateurs are more than welcome to come north of the border and activate any of our parks, provincial, federal parks, and anything that's part of the POTA program. You're more than welcome. We embrace you with open arms. After all, that's just the Canadian way of doing things. But there's a few things that you need to know. So here's some tips. Now, this is not legal advice in any way, and I'll always consult the latest rules and regulations before you do anything. But to the best of my knowledge, this is what I know. First off, when you come across the border, when you get to the border checkpoint, either at the airport or one of the bridges or land crossings, always declare your equipment. If you've got antennas and radios and stuff that you're carrying with you, always declare it. And another thing, for those friends of ours that travel with any firearms, make sure you leave them at home. They're not allowed in Canada. But your radio gear is, of course, but always declare it to the CBD officer at the border. So when you go to identify yourself on the radio, let's say your call is Whiskey 6 Papa Delta Delta, and you're going to key up for the first time. You just don't, after you, of course, you spot yourself on the POTA page and make sure you have the proper internet, because internet here for roaming is very expensive. But make sure you got all that administrative stuff taken care of, and you go to identify. Don't go on the air and just do this. CQ POTA, Whiskey 6 Papa Delta Delta, QRZ. That is wrong. Do not do that. That's not the correct way to identify yourself when you're up north of the border. When you go to identify, it's always your call sign, stroke, the visiting area that you're in, or the Victor Echo area. So let's say you're in British Columbia. You would identify as Whiskey 6 Papa Delta Delta, stroke, Victor Echo 7, or Whiskey 6 Papa Delta Delta, portable Victor Echo 7. You do not say Victor Echo 7, stroke, Whiskey 6 Papa Delta Delta. That is the incorrect way. The correct way is Whiskey 6 Papa Delta Delta stroke Victor Echo 7. So let's just say you're traveling coast to coast. What are the Canadian call sign areas? Well, they're quite easy. They're numbered from east to west. Lowest number on the east side, highest number technically on the west side, but that's not really true, because us Canadians like to screw things up every once in a while and change things. A few years ago, us folks here in New Brunswick wanted our own call designation. For years, we were Victor Echo 1s. But we wanted to become Victor Echo 9s, and that totally screwed up the whole naming convention for ham radio call signs in this country. So I'll put a list right here on the screen that you can consult. But really, if you're in Nova Scotia, Victor Echo 1, Quebec, Victor Echo 2, Ontario, Victor Echo 3, Manitoba, Victor Echo 4, Saskatchewan, Victor Echo 5, Alberta, Victor Echo 6, British Columbia, Victor Echo 7, Northwest Territories, Victor Echo 8, and then New Brunswick, Victor Echo 9. But it gets more complex than that. Newfoundland, Victor Ocean 1, Labrador, Victor Ocean 2, Prince Edward Island, Victor Yankee 2, New Yukon Territory, Victor Yankee 1, and then Maritime Mobiles, Victor Echo 0. So it gets a little more complex. But always remember, Whiskey 6 Papa Delta Delta stroke Victor Echo 3 if you're in Ontario, not Victor Echo 3 stroke Whiskey 6 Papa Delta Delta. Do that, and you can't go wrong. And then make sure you're in compliance with whatever your license is in the United States when you're in Canada. Canada amateurs do not have the same restrictions as our friends down south in some areas. So make sure you consult what you can and cannot operate on when you're up visiting Canada. But I would say if you follow your license requirements in the US, you'll be pretty much in alignment with what Canada has to offer. Oh yeah, almost forgot a couple other key things. Always have proof of identification with you. So your driver's license, birth certificate with your license. So those three things. Always have your FCC license and proof of citizenship or any other photo ID. And the other key thing about the identification that I almost forgot. When you're identifying, use your call sign like Whiskey 6 Papa Delta Delta stroke Victor Echo 3. And then if you put the park identifier slot, like something like Victor Echo 0014, you can't go wrong. They want to see some sort of geographical identifier when you're there. So for example, if you're traveling north of Toronto, for example, you can say Whiskey 6 Whiskey 6 Papa Delta Delta, portable Victor Echo 3 or mobile Victor Echo 3, 30 kilometers north of Toronto, or in Barrie, Ontario, or in Victor Echo 0014. Those are some other tips. Identification, identify on the air, your call sign, your Canadian area designation, and your physical location. Can't go wrong. We'll see everyone later. I'm Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Sierra Romeo Charlie. I hope you enjoy these videos as much as I enjoy making and sharing what I know. And we'll see you guys in a future video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you want more great content like this. See you later.